There's been more notes put out there than there's actually physical supply of the metal. So if everybody wanted to cash in and get physical all at one time, there isn't enough. So you'd have a lot of worthless paper that would not help you.
No, you mentioned how, like in a worst case scenario, people might need to have gold and silver to eat, meaning that they might have to spend their precious metals, for real food, right? So I know some people, what is your perspective on that? Because I know some people prefer the 90% junk silver, like the old dimes and quarters and half dollars. Is there any form of metals that you prefer for kind of that worst case scenario?
I think junk silver is perfect. I'm a big believer in junk silver. You could have a gazillion dollars and buy one big bar of gold, but how are you going to make change if you have to actually ever really need it, right? So I think that, the silver in small denominations, because that's what you're going to need at some point. Remember, we have to, plan ahead and know that it just isn't buying the metal. It's actually strategically buying it in case that emergency comes. And the other thing is, why should you pay for the artwork that might be on that piece of silver?
That's a good point. Really being strategic about that and thinking about, well, what is going to be the most useful in a worst case scenario, and also making sure maybe not to pay too much of a premium, obviously, for just a particular design there. But your perspective then on silver as well, because we covered gold. You're saying at the moment you're short paper gold. What about for silver?
I'm also short paper silver at the moment, but that is, again, those are both right on the cusp of being reversing out. We trade, and I actively do that. We swing trade them, and we're either long. I'm either long or short on paper every single day of the year, and we're very close. I think over 26 would be a reversal, anyways. And of course, but overall, in all the metals, I'm very bullish long term. But again, I'm willing to hold them, as a physical tool. Okay. I do love, if you're looking just to play it for a trade, I love AG. It's a silver miner for $13. I think that's a great little play if you're looking for something. But I think that the most important thing people can do is own physical metals, because I think I don't think there's enough physical to cover the amount of paper that's been put out there. Okay. And I think that could be a problem at some point as well.
Now, as a lifelong trader, what does that actually mean? How do you interpret that? Because so many people have said that there's more paper, precious metals out there than the physical metal. What does that actually mean for the average person, if you could kind of put that in layman's terms?
What that means is that if everybody's holding an ETF or a company or whatever, that there's more paper sold that represents. So I got a better way to explain it. Okay, if you go back in history, they used to make silver certificates. Before they said Federal Reserve notes on $1, they said silver certificates, and you could take that $1 into the bank and get a Morgan silver dollar. Okay. Well, obviously that's changed. We can't do that more because now they go from silver certificates to notes. Okay. I think there's been more notes put out there than there's actually physical supply of the metal. So if everybody wanted to cash in and get physical all at one time, there isn't enough. So you'd have a lot of worthless paper that would not help you if you really needed it.
And that's the reason then to hold the physical metal is who knows if you're actually going to be able to get the physical metal if you're just holding the paper.
Exactly. And the other thing about physical is, again, there's no company behind it. There's nobody behind it. It is simply a piece of it's a hard asset, like your home, like your car, that you put in your safe and you have it. So if you do need it, you've got a place to get it. If not, it'll appreciate in value over time anyways.
Now, what is your outlook for the other markets? You mentioned precious metals is one way that people can protect themselves. Your outlook currently for gold as we're seeing it rally this week?
Yeah, well, full disclosure, right as we speak, I am short gold on paper. All right, I'm short paper gold because we trade that not actively, but we swing trade it. But I always own physical gold and always buy more physical. I would never own paper gold as a protection. If I wanted it as protection, and it's really protection against the currency, because we both know how criminal the fiat currency market is and what the manipulation that the central banks can do with those dollars. The U.S. dollar is trading at par right now. What does that mean? It doesn't buy any more than it bought last week, buys less. So But I think gold and silver are great investments. I think they'll appreciate. They're great hard assets. And I think they're getting ready to break out. And I think we'll probably getting ready to reverse here. So I'll be double long. But also, I think that there is an outside chance that we could have a problem that they may need that as a currency to actually eat. Okay. Now, I don't want anybody to get alarmed like I'm sounding the bell, but there's enough problems right now. And these currencies, this fiat system is horrible. Okay. And it's a devaluation or taxation without representation, however you want to put it. And you may, at some point in your life, you may need gold or silver to go shopping with. And it's just something that I think everybody should have a percentage of gold and silver in their portfolio.